boost my screen a little. All right, so hi everybody. This is Dan, and we're doing week 3 of. It's actually week 2. Uh, if you're interested, I'll tell you the story behind that. Anyhow, we're at week 3, and I actually thought before we start, I'm going to let you see behind the scenes and how I go through things. And because really, this is a community where people can share their ideas, their wins, their methodologies, and that's super important. So we're going to learn from each other. And I thought, well, I should probably lead in that area. And um, and to do that, I'm going to show you behind the scenes how do I use ChatGPT. And um, until I have a compelling reason to use another tool, I'm going to focus, and what we'll talk about what a compelling reason is, but I'm going to focus on one solution. And to be quite frank, ChatGPT has been very cutting edge in every area. Now, if you're a software developer, and I'm actually a software developer, it might be worth looking at the Claude um, environment, the Claude AI tools. Having said that, I don't think ChatGPT is too far behind Claude in that regard. Um, Tell me, if you're in that space, feel free to try to convince me otherwise. I love the codecs within ChatGPT, but we're not going to get really into that. What I want to show you is how I organize my ChatGPT. Again, ChatGPT is $20 a month. Even if you're into something else, I really recommend ChatGPT because it does a very good job in a lot of really important areas. And one of them is this idea of projects. And if you look here in this project, you will see that first of all, I have tons of projects, okay? Um, but in this project, I think, oh, that's the bottom. So not so many things, but in this project, it's basically a place for me not only to dump content, so I'm going to constantly dump the content into the project file, to brainstorm. For me, that's super important. I want to brainstorm and when you begin brainstorming with AI, with specifically ChatGPT, um, you're you're you know you're finding out actually the limits of ChatGPT, and ChatGPT begins to learn from you, and its limits begin to grow. Okay, ChatGPT. One limit is it can't read your mind. It doesn't know everything that's in there, and so anyhow, I'm kind of getting off topic because really what we want to do is have this 30-minute meeting plan, and we're going to go through it. Uh, we're kind of in a pre-launch. We've got people in the platform that are just friends, but we're going to do this alignment call really quickly so that people can see the process. But I want you to see a little bit behind the scenes as we're doing it. Um, Look at this. Um, okay, can you create a mind map of this flow? So basically, let's go back to point 1 here. So these are my 30-minute meeting plan. I'm going to keep that in a single file, and we're going to keep building on top of it. So think of the context from a AI perspective, the context window. The context window is twofold. It's one context is this individual chat. The other one is the project above that. Plus, there's an additional context window, and that's kind of the overall learning of what's important to me. Remember, when you work with ChatGPT, you can say to ChatGPT, remember this. And it'll remember it. It'll remember it forever. It becomes part of the context window for you as a user. So think of these context windows, and that's kind of a technical term. It just basically means what the chat has in its memory. Now, there's a limit to that memory, and it's trying to manage it. So it's adding things to context memory, maybe deleting it if it needs more space, but there's a limit to that context window memory, and so it's not infinite. So don't think it's going to remember everything about you, but it does remember a lot, and these projects are a way to continue to have it remember things. So coaching, I call it coaching. That's this group. That's the Flex AI framework, um, and all the other coaching services that I'll provide as a byproduct of the Flex AI framework. So the Flex AI framework is a framework, but there's different coaching levels. Right now, we've just got this the lab is what we call it, and that is just you people that are listening to this. Obviously, everyone at all levels, but if you're at the lab level, everybody's at the lab level in my coaching, and then there's smaller, more focused group coaching, and then there's individual coaching, and all those people will have access to the lab in this 30-minute meeting that we do on a Monday morning. And but I thought it'd be really helpful, and I took a few minutes already to talk about structure and for you to see behind the scenes of how I do these things. So that's what we're doing right now, and I'm just hoping against hope that I'm actually recording, because this is good stuff. So I'm just double checking that. I don't know what's going on, but I'm assuming that we are recording. Okay, so it would just be so sad. Oh, it does look like I'm recording. So let's continue. So we have the welcome, and let's do that. So today we're going to talk about a kind of progress that doesn't look impressive at the moment, becomes unstoppable over time. Remind them of flex purpose. So we want this meeting today is about alignment, and you can see that on the screen. And alignment happens before action. In other words, we want to be, we don't want to be shooting off in all different directions. We want to align ourselves, our nature, if you will, with our actions as we move through the day. And what, in the flex framework, that obviously means finding those things that energize us, focusing on those things, trying to outsource those things that drain us, and then finding ways, there's kind of always going to be the happy medium, because we aren't going to be there. That's maybe even a lifelong process. But anyhow, so reflection, prompt the group. So this is where I'd ask the group. We're in pre-launch, so there's not a group here. There could be if some of my pre-launch partners would join, but they haven't. So what's a small win you had last week? And I actually had a small win. I'm doing a lot of exploration, as we should all be doing. I'm still there. So the small win, the win that I had, and I don't think it's a small win, it's a nice size win. So I do a lot of exploration, and part of that exploration is looking at tools as they become available. And I ran across a tool for doing mobile apps. And I was in a meeting Friday, meeting with a colleague slash friend slash customer. And he has a business that he has customers, but the customers, the hardest thing is keeping up with all the customer requests. He actually has a human assistant, but the human assistant is the human assistant that is a friend and is not too expensive and stuff like that. And the human assistant is what, it's the equivalent of, let's say, an entry level person in his field. She might be great at a bunch of other things, but in his field, she understands it. She's been around a lot, but she might not be able to handle a lot of nuance. Like my friend, who's really an expert. Okay, so what he said, if I could just have a mobile app that I could do on iPhone and Android, and the app would answer questions, uh, both by talking to it or by typing into it, so a chatbot based on his content. So it's what we call a RAG system, retrieval, whatever it is. Uh, Basically, we call it a RAG system, and I don't think, it's a retrieval something. Retrieval augmented generation. Anyhow, so basically, it's using all his content to respond. So this is just Friday, by the way, and these two things came together. It's like, oh, I knew of this system that I watched on a YouTube video or whatever reels, and it looked really impressive. And he has this need, and so I said, how about you pay me X amount of dollars and I'll create one. With that, what's your budget? I said, how? And I said something. He said, factor of 10 times as much. I said, no, I'll just do it for this. He's my guinea pig, right? So he gets off cheap, and you might have guinea pigs in your life, and they shouldn't be paying full price unless, you know, especially if you don't know, if they're a guinea pig, that means you don't know exactly how the experiment's going to turn out, and they shouldn't have to pay for your inefficiencies, let's say, at the beginning. Anyhow, so we went through this thing, matching his need, my learning, boom. That's a win every time. And I'm going to get paid. So I'm going to get paid to learn how to do this new thing. But here's the cool thing. It's not just for him. So what I build for him, I can offer to a broad range of people. It's a really nice, simple tool that allows him to provide a RAG system in a mobile app that's branded to his company. And instead of them picking up the phone and calling him, they pick up their phone and say, hey, I'm having a problem with XYZ. It provides a solution. It also has the ability for them to dial directly. Uh, Very cool, very cool. So this is a solution. So I'm getting paid to fix it. I'm getting paid to learn. So I'm fixing his problem, but I'm also fixing my problem. Is I need more revenue. More revenue comes from solving problems. The problem I'm solving for him is something I can solve for tons of people. Super cool, super cool. Okay, there's some technical stuff that I have to do on top of the AI piece, which I can do because I'm a software developer. Perfect, everything's just perfect. So it's in my zone. It's definitely in my zone of preference. It's the things that energize me. Super exciting. We'll see how much I can outsource to AI or to other resources. So that's my win, and it's actually a huge win. But it doesn't have to be something that's huge, but it moves the needle. Definitely that. Okay. Excellent. Idea of the week. So let's talk about that. So in Flex, we talk a lot about flow and how it thrives in rhythm. Consistently doesn't mean perfection, it means showing up. Every small aligned action reinforces clarity, confidence, and momentum. By the way, you wonder where I got this? Let's look. So again, we're looking behind the curtain here. So it knows me. It knows what these meetings are about because we've done a couple already. And I say, help me with today's alignment call. I want to talk about small wins and big results and consistency. Okay. So flow thrives in rhythm. Consistency doesn't mean perfection, it means showing up. Every small aligned action reinforces clarity, confidence, and momentum. Very nicely put. AI wrote that paragraph for me. But you remember, I've been working on this thing for 6 months. There's all this content in there. I keep having brainstorming. I tell it when it's wrong or doesn't have the right viewpoint, and I correct it. And eventually, me and the AI begin to align. We have alignment within AI, so AI is able to pick up the slack and do things like create things like this because I've already taught it what my thinking is, and that's what you can do. So let's talk about the 4% challenge. So we have this idea that there's this right amount of challenge that we need to engage in order to stay engaged. You've seen it, professors, maybe if you know are in college or even high school. The teacher knows the material, and what do? They just coast. And it's the same syllabus, quarter after quarter, semester after semester. They seem bored. They're droning on through the class, like the guy on Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Bueller, Bueller, anyone? And they're just going through it because they've done it 100 times, maybe 1,000 times. Anyhow, we don't want to be like that. We want to push ourselves. So it's the guy who's doing Bueller, an interesting guy, actor, and I think he's actually a bit of a social, um, has some political interest. Anyhow, um, what should he have done? He should have challenged himself. He should have built his skill set. Maybe he needs to learn how to tell stories better or be more articulate or engaging, or there's all kinds of things that for presentations you can learn, like showing your hands. If you show your hands, people feel more at ease. That's why we do handshakes and say hi and wave. These are all things basically say, I don't have a rock or a stick or a knife in my hand, I'm safe. Anyhow, I learned that because why? Because I watched a YouTube video about it. So we should always be growing. Okay, so let's go to step 4. What's one small, consistent action you can commit to this week that aligns with your strengths? Okay, encourage posting that goal in the forum, right? So we're all part of a cool community, the AI Flex AI framework. Come visit, come enter into the discussions. We've got some discussions going in there. I love that. Thank you. I'm going to thank Diane because I think she's been very good at it. So go ahead and think about that this week. Have it ready. Start thinking about it. What's one consistent action you can commit to this week that aligns with your strengths? So again, we want to create wins. Wins are built on consistency, consistent action. If I was to say what's one small win or small action that I can commit to, I've already kind of committed to posting on a regular basis in LinkedIn, which is also pushed out to Facebook. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to commit. I really believe these apps are going to be a good business solution for people that I'm going to be able to provide and generate revenue from. So I'm going to start building relationships with business people. I'm going to try to figure out a way to do that. That'll be cool. Maybe I can leverage. I've learned today, I had a long conversation with a loved one, and I've realized that I'm not very good at building my network as a business referral network. And I realize I use my network as a support network. And maybe that's why you're in this group, because you want support, but it can also be a business growing network. So I've been part of these different business growing networks, and I see how powerful they are. In fact, I know people who built whole businesses off of one network group. So it can be very powerful, but I'm not very good at it. I don't know what that's about. I kind of sense I know what it's about, and it's a moral flaw within me, a weakness, and we all have those, of course, but we should try to overcome them. So what am I going to do? I'm going to leverage. I'm going to try to do better at using my network as a business referral source, and specifically, I think I'm going to try to plug in this app tool. Okay, very good, very good, very good. Love it, love it, love it, love it. 5. What helps you stay connected when motivation dips? Oh, that's such a great question. I love AI. And what small habits have created big results for you? What small habits? Staying connected with my friends. That one's easy for me. Staying connected with my business friends who that's a good thing. And also, reaching out into new areas. So being a little bit courageous in opening doors. And I'll tell you, one small habit too is trying to learn new things all the time. That's big wins. Every single it's almost self-evident, but I'm a technology guy and I will tinker and explore technologies and do mini projects for myself or for a customer because I think it'll be hot in the marketplace. And what always ends up, my unfortunately my I've created a few products, and some of them have been, I've had a few products that have lasted a long time and provided a nice trickle of income. But what they've really done is given me the skill set to say to a potential employer, "Oh yeah, I created a cool project. Here, let me show you." And they go, "Oh, that's cool. We need stuff like that." And or, "Oh, you really do have a mastery of this language or this technology or this database or what have you." And boom, now I've got an in, and I've got portfolio. It becomes a portfolio item that they think they see my expertise is really what it comes down. Anyhow, so that has always worked very well for me. And what helps when motivation dips, I'm gonna be honest by telling you honesty. Finding, knowing, having someone that you can be honest with. In fact, I saw a great play yesterday. It was based on, the play was called Crime and Punishment on Dostoevsky's book. And in the end, the anti hero goes and bears his soul, it admits his crime, and it's it changes his life. So that's one thing you can do, is you can. Um, that's what I do. Is I find my friends I can be honest with and say, "Hey, motivation is gone," and just be really honest. And guess what? What happens on the other side of that? It's like you've got it off your chest. You're free. Anyhow, okay. Wrap up. 3 minutes. How are we doing on time? I have a feeling I may have gone. Oh, we literally have 3 minutes. Perfect. Close with this thought. Small wins are proof you're moving in the right direction. Consistency turns into identity. You don't have to do everything, just the right thing over and over and over. And remember, you are the architect. Flex is the blueprint, and the lab here is your team. So thanks for showing up. Thanks for watching this. Can't wait to post it. Feel free to comment on it. Give your thoughts, ideas, criticisms. We're totally open to criticisms around here. Hopefully your criticisms are valuable and you're not just, had a bad day and you're taking it out on us. Don't do that. Anyhow, I hope you have a great day. Thanks for watching. This is Dan, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.